Welcome to a holiday edition of Gem Collectors with Shawn. I am Shawn. And so, of course, with this show actually airing on Memorial Day, and with Memorial Day being a special connection to me, maybe more so than what it should be to everyone, I always have to say something in thanks and gratitude for all of our men and women that have served previously and currently, and for those in the future, because some are planning their careers right now in high school. You can start off as my son did. So speaking of, yes, my father, he fought actively, active meaning in a combat role in the Korean War, and my son has in the Army now achieved the rank of major and served actively for 10 months in the mountains of Afghanistan, and in a situation that I could find very little out about. So this is where the parents, the families, the loved ones deserve a thanks as well and appreciation as well, because it becomes a sacrifice for everyone. And then, of course, there are those families that have to suffer and accept the ultimate reality of what can happen to your loved one in a wartime situation, and even just in regular training exercises. All of that is a dangerous profession. So hats off, and I thank all of you members of the service, previously and current, and the families as well. Love and prayers. And I know and can say that with sincerity, having had to with my own only child in those situations. So, yeah, it's a day to remember. And if you know someone that has served, don't forget to thank them for their heroic and valiant service. No matter whether the politics was for it or not, it didn't matter. If they were involved in those situations, they served just as heroically as anyone else. And with that, happy Memorial Day to all of you enjoying your extended holiday weekend. This show airs on Monday anyway, so I get in now where most of you should be off planning your barbecues, the start of summer, the unofficial start of summer. And yeah, here in Georgia, it's the start of making sure your air conditioner works, and always a hot one. And yeah, that's all I can say about that. The older I got, the more sensitive to heat, so I kind of almost go inwards. But with this new disaster that happened to the house, I happened to get the entire basement cleaned as part of the deal, and that means that my indoor sluice and two potential patentable inventions, so to speak, that I created out of necessity of being able to run the same 50 gallons of water through the sluice at a rate that could allow my gold tailings, well, it's my gold concentration. So I take from the source, the creek, and then I put it through a couple of sifting size meshes, and then I'm left with a just more of the concentrations. Of course, I always look through those bigger pieces just in case a large nugget might have slipped in there. Also, though, for Native American artifacts, because we're just off the Trail of Tears, and I mean just off of it. and then also for 300, 400 years of history in North Georgia. It goes back to. So I can still run the sluice indoors in a controlled environment using the same water and get excellent results. So I happen to bring up a good bit of that material to be able to process, so I can have some fun with that. And I still know where it came from, depending on how much is there. So I'm kind of excited to do that. I'll be able to do it in a really nice, clean, more sterile environment, do this situation, and yeah. So okay, we've got a great show planned for you. Memorial Day weekend, we're going to do a big sale. Going to sell some items. Plus, we have new items as well, and great comments that we're going to read. Winner of the trivia as well. A lot of you getting the answer to the trivia questions correct. So let's read those questions, and then we'll get to the show. Now, remember that I do write down exactly the way I ask, basically the question, so that there can be no slip-ups on the meaning of the question. So always important to be able to answer the question in the way it was asked and in the way it was asked, so that you would get the proper answer. So that has kind of confused a lot of people. If you think of the ear might hear one thing, and that's why writing something down becomes so very important. And those of you that take notes, hats off to you. Well done. So question number 1 was, what element creates the yellow in lepidolite? Remember, we've had kind of a great little short mini discussion on one of the micas that often doesn't get investigated upon that much, and that is the lithium mica, known as lepidolite. And so, we talk about everything from a town here west of Atlanta called Lithia Springs, originally because there was water that was high in the mineral content of the element lithium. And so we'll get to that, because Barbara, she calls me professor. If I'm professor, she's definitely a professor's assistant, because she is very wise with the information she provides. And it's great. Just helps us all out. That's what I know a lot of you really like, the comment section, and learn from it, as people have commented about. So, okay. So I will tell you the answer to that right now. So I would accept iron. Anything to do with iron, I'd be open, because that is the answer. The exact answer is Fe3+. Now, we're not going to get much into the 3 pluses and whatnot, but maybe further down the line. But those are valences, or different forms. In other words, it has 3 positive electrons to its core, so it can bond with, anyway, iron. That's all we're looking for there. Second question was, what does the Greek word lepidos mean in reference to lepidolite? So the answer to that, and we, get to learn a little bit of foreign languages as well. It's amazing how many words in the English language are based on Latin, but more wisely on it, the active and useful language now that goes back historically thousands of years. And one of the countries I've always wanted to go to but haven't. But I've had a lot of minerals from Greece. And Penny, of course, one of our wonderful members of the family here, is originally from there and speaks Greek. And so she has helped out along the way. And I have learned just how many minerals have their name rooted in Greek words, way more so than any other language, including Latin. So, from the Greek word, lepidos, I wouldn't know exactly where the syllable falls on there, but Answer is scale. Okay, so those were the questions. Let's see how the answers went. So we first had another great picture, and I wish I could show pictures, but maybe some of you wouldn't send me the pictures of yourself, which I got another one this week, which was great to see. But Harry sends me the pictures of the stones that he facets, and he faceted a beautiful pear-shaped smoky quartz. And what I liked about it, Harry, was the step cuts. I happen to like step cutting, and it's very functional for pieces and in use for pretty much any shape you want to do. You can create a step cut for it and be able to modify step cutting to work for a lot of odd shapes as well. So he cut a 68 carat one and went with the long pear shape. He says, anyway, God bless you, and how's the house coming along? Love from Harry. Then from Miss Kathleen, so I got a wonderful picture of her son and her husband and her, who, let me read. Hello, Shawn and fellow rock community. I have been missing in action the past couple weeks. My son graduated college with summa cum laude honors. So very proud of him, as you should be indeed. We then held a graduation party the following weekend. We still have to move his 2-bedroom apartment worth of belongings back home. By the time we get that done, I don't think I'm going to be able to walk in my basement. It has been crazy busy here. I did watch both episodes, even answered trivia questions thinking I would get the email sent, only I did it. How many of us have done that? Prepared an email or even a text message and then think you sent it, and then you go back and look and you did everything but hit send. I tried to snag some of the merchandise, but it just wasn't meant to be. Thanks for another great show this week. I've attached a photo from the party we held on our farm. It is of myself, son, and husband. Getting the trivia right, she says iron and scales. Great picture, and what a great looking, just, son that you have. And, I could tell that he wasn't raised I don't know. I just could see a strong farm-raised son that had been loved greatly and paying off in a proud return of how you feel as you should. So we often get back what we put into things, and the investment in our children is one of those. So I know I'm certainly proud of my son and how he has turned out. Way better than my generation. So yeah. Next, we have Miss Barbara from Brooklyn. Hi, Professor, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. Aha, now you see why we want to get first shot at your items. Many specimens are unusual from unique locations and at incomparable prices. What's not to like? Keep them coming from that bottomless cornucopia of a seller. And she's referring to some of the items I sold, and then what I said last week about everybody send back everything you ever bought from me, because I actually made the mistake of, something I told you that I hadn't done was go and actually look at other sites. I only go to one site for cut gemstones. It's on the inexpensive site side of the internet for pricing ideas, and because I want to always make sure I'm less than. But I never go into the mineral sites. I use Mindat for information, but never followed up on where these things came from and how much they ask for them. And I did a little of that this past week and the week before, and I was aghast. I actually did a little more because I just wanted to see, I kind of rubbed my eyes and went back and looked again, and I realized just how inexpensively I have been selling off things that are going for so much more money and are so much rarer. So this is a 50-year collection I have, and some things that I have gotten because I was the only one when I had my estate jewelry store in downtown Chamblee, Georgia, which is inside the perimeter of Atlanta. So it's anything inside the perimeter, you can just call, the center. You can call Atlanta. And I was known, my jewelry store, since I carried actually some really nice mineral specimens in and on the shelves in there and in the cabinets, like ruby and matrix next to ruby rings and all for the education side of it. And so I was known to be willing to actually pay money for estates of rocks and minerals and lapidary equipment, because nobody else had a market for any of it, like any other pawn shops or jewelry stores. There was no one else but me. And you'd had to have a knowledge to be willing to pay for something. Other than that, a box of rocks, you go somewhere, they're gonna just, politely tell you that they don't deal in that sort of thing. And, but of course, after years and years of being in Atlanta and being known, I would get those referrals. I would get those people whose father or grandfather or uncle died, and they were responsible or have inherited a lot of rocks and mineral specimens. So I would make an offer. I'd actually pay money. It was never turned down. I could have asked and offered and paid much less than I did for items, and people would be grateful that they got anything for it. But me, being on the probably not very smart side of the taking the high road through life, offered real money for items. So my offers were never turned down, but it also allowed me to get a lot of neat, unusual stuff many times. I didn't have time. There'd be just loose rocks in a big bin. And, you don't go through everyone. You just kind of glanced at everything. You make an offer within literally 5 minutes. And then, though, it's kind of like those warehouses that people, bid on, and the storage units. And, afterwards, you're not allowed to look in beyond the front entrance, and only for a few moments. And then afterwards, you get to kind of see what you got. Well, that would happen with the rocks and minerals, and that was always the fun part. I got to see what I got for my money. And so many, many years of doing that has led me to what you are getting to see now. And these are pieces that go way back, and I don't have much idea of what I paid, let alone what they're worth on the other end. That mica specimen of, that lepidolite specimen, that was, we'll read on. A lot of you recognize exactly what you're getting. Barbara's one of them. So she says, keep them coming from that bottomless cornucopia of a cellar. And that's how I stirred up this last batch, was this whole situation with the house, and found some more boxes of rocks. Imagine that. About your comments about lithium springs, I decided to look up the medicinal properties of lithium. According to the NIH, lithium is the only drug that has been shown efficacious to the prevention of any mood episode, manic episode, or depressive episode. Guess those folks that own those springs weren't pushing snake oil, but a good thing if being bipolar was your issue. All this and battery power too. Yippee. Lithium turned out to be quite the element. Follow a wire wrap tutorial on YouTube. Start with soft copper wire and be amazed at what you can do. I tried it and was delighted with my very first piece. That's in reference to wire wrapping. And that's why I told you, it's amazing how easy it really is, especially with crystals that have these indentations and holding points that will allow you to lock them in. Soft wire copper that allows you to tighten up on the piece, and doesn't cost, but pennies for a lot. So truly, and then the copper, you can gold plate on copper, you can rhodium plate on copper. So you can get even a different look through doing that if you're set up to do that. But yeah, start with wire wrapping, get the fever, and next thing you know, you'll be making custom jewelry. As to the trivia, we'll never forget that lepidolite is one of the lithium micas by getting that wrong. Glad you gave us the answer to the yellow colorant in yellow lepidolite as iron. I tried to look it up and only found a bunch of metaphysical mumbo-jumbo. Lepid means scales in Greek, alluding to the overlapping scaly habit of lepidolite. That sample is choice. She's referring to that lepidolite piece. I'm honored to own it. Oh, okay. Well, she got an amazing item. I'll have to will it back to you. And I wrote next to that, yes, with exclamation points, as in, please do so. That was well, like she said, it's an amazing specimen when it looks exactly like the other items, and size-wise isn't just, a small size. It's a truly treasured piece. Regarding lepidolite chewing up tourmaline, the new Brazilian Paraíba tourmaline find, where the crystals had to be etched out of their matrix, came out with lavender lepidolite creeping up from the base like a fungus. It truly looks that way. It's just like the way malachite takes over azurite. It's kind of science fiction horror. Collector's Edge brought these very showy specimens to the market this past year and are worth a gander. Exactly. A lot of money they're asking for these. Nice books of mica you found. Great for demos at school. Be well. Oh, Miss Barbara from Brooklyn. Mr. Brad from Pittsburgh, PA. Haven't heard from him in a while. Happy Memorial Day to Shawn, the Raven, the Gem shopping staff, and the whole Rock family. I'm checking in to say I hope all families are doing okay for the holidays when we remember our veterans on Memorial Day. My dad was in the Army Corps of Engineers just after World War II, and my father-in-law was a mechanic with the Army Air Corps. He could fix anything with duct tape and baling wire. So I had to laugh at your lawnmower story. He had an old F-100, and I remember looking under the hood and seeing a hose hooked up to a plastic quart-size oil can as an overflow reservoir for radiant coolant. He was very resourceful and thrifty that way. My brother and I got the urge to go west, young man. Famous quote, maybe by Mark Twain, not sure. And so around the age of 20, this is how I wound up in Denver. So we take off in my Renegade CJ5 Jeep with big tires, so that when you're on the road for hours, all you hear for hours afterwards, it's kind of like getting off a boat after you've been on your sea legs wobbling. All I heard was the whine of these tires. Funny thing is, that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about the trip out there, more so because of the trip back. He and I drove straight back through Denver to Cleveland, Tennessee, 27 hours nonstop with switching off drivers. And talk about hearing that noise for days, it seemed. So anyway, we took a trip west, and we were going to swing up through Pueblo, Colorado. I had hoped to get a job in a small city. As it turned out, as a goldsmith, I wound up having to go to Denver. But in going through Texas, we were in no man's land, and anything close at all. One of those things. And the engine, something started smoking, engine overheated, so we pulled off to the side of the road, and the radiator hose had split. And luckily, even then, even though I'm not a car person, I did have sense to bring, just in case also for drinking water, a couple extra gallons of water and duct tape. I literally duct taped that hose together, and it held all the way from Texas, looping up through the bottom of Colorado, back into Denver until we could get it fixed for the amount of time it would take. And when we got settled in, there was no need to even change it. It held that well. And if I wouldn't have had it, who knows what kind of. So, magical stuff. It's a neat story, too, to find out exactly how it was, how it came about and was created. So, great story there, Mr. Brad. Trivia: yellow lepidolite has iron in it. I don't remember anything from the discussion about Lepidos and the Latin or Greek origin, but if it is anything like Lepidoptera, insects, It might be scaly, perhaps related to mica. Just a guess. Well, your guess happens to be correct. Since you mentioned lithium in spring water, there's a place on the eastern side of West Virginia called Capon Springs where we go upon occasion. There's a family-owned rustic mountain resort and spa that has lithium in its spring water, located just south of Berkeley Springs. The water is slightly basic, so it reduces acidity and is very relaxing. Capon Springs is run on the honor system. No cell reception, no AC, farm to table, family style food, all inclusive. I'll bet that's good eating. Since this last week was all about mica, do you have any, urine mica, spelled U-R-A-N, listed in Mindat, also known as torbernite, torbernite. Torbernite. It has beautiful copper-bearing crystals. I acquired a flake of uranosursite. He's challenging me here. A barium cousin to torbernite that also has beautiful crystals that fluoresce like crazy. Looked it up, and it has about 1 millirem per hour per gram in a spherical configuration if held in the hand. A bit hot. Yes, it is. So I had a large piece of malachite that I placed on top of it for shielding's sake. So if you have any malachite boxes, I would be interested. I am sure my uranosursite has dehydrated to meta-uranosursite, but still beautiful. I bet you have some. You think? By the way, I told Miss Gabby and Miss Barbara that I'm willing to share the greenin' with them on a rotating traveling basis, meaning the spinel. Stay cool, you all, Brad. So a couple references there on, he's referencing the green spinel, which I knew that some others also wanted. And so glad to know where it went, because I had set that one aside. I wouldn't have had it if I had recut it already. But if you do want it refaceted, like I said, for a fee, I would if you want to part with it. Looks great still the way it is. Okay, so he goes back to malachite. So I've told the story how I put some of my econite stones in a malachite box. It really, really protects it, just like a lead shield. And then it's inside another box. And so I actually have a little malachite box, but the lid doesn't quite fit. I have to make it fit. It's one of those boxes left over. It's small. From when I had bought 50 of them, okay? So these are handmade malachite boxes with lids that are handmade to fit the particular base of the box, right? This is years ago, but here at GSN, we hit the box and absolutely jumbled all the lids separate from the bases. If you actually figured the combination of lid to box from 50 pieces, how it would be in the millions of possibilities, I would think. With a little time, we actually were able to get it back out of 50 boxes, all but 6, where the lids went on, okay, and looked fine. 6 we could not get to match the lids to the base of the box. This is one of those left over from a long time ago, but all it will take is just a little bit of sanding for it to drop in. So there is that. So regarding your torbernite, well, yeah, so what I don't talk about is some of those private collections I have. I've alluded to them, but just only lightly, because it's just not something that you talk about too much. But what he is inquiring about is it looks like mica, except it's very radioactive. I'm going to say the R word. And so he's inquiring, and then he bets I have some. Well, you would be correct. I do have some. I also have the family that it belongs to, or what's considered the mineral closest to altunite, even though there's a group of minerals that's called the altunite group. So, which is another radioactive element. You're talking about their what they call urinal phosphates and urinal arsenates. So it's a uranium and oxygen combined with phosphates or arsenates. And then the first element is what changes the name. So you have copper for torbanite, then you have calcium that is the lead element for the altunite group with the same ending. All of them, if they're radioactive, are usually very beautiful fluorescent material, but you just have to be aware. And really, a Geiger counter is, if you play around with those things, is really needed just to see how far away and whether it's alpha, beta, gamma radiation that it puts out, and just how far it is out. But in doing some looking up, I found a perfect mineral that Raven would have named it this. And it's actually a word that she uses around the house, so I'm surprised she hasn't applied it to a mineral. But I found a mineral that is actually called zippyite. Zippyite, and she always refers to, or says, "Oh, you, Mr., aren't you zippy?" Or, she can use it in several different ways, but she does use the word zippy. And so, just like her scooter-rootite became Scooby-Dooite, I saw that and I thought, wow, that had to be something she named. But that's a uranyl sulfate. So another neat mineral. So yeah, I have some of those hot things and just kind of keep them to myself there. I'm glad to see though that you're willing to respect them. Miss Cindy says, hello, Rock family. Excellent show, Shawn. Trivia envy is real this week. Hopefully by next week, your home repair will be over. Not yet. Scale-like. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And she got the iron right. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Fave of the week, the Orissa Cat's Eye Alexandrite. Harry says, hey, Shawn, thanks for the mention on the semi-mount. I'm just finally over the recovery slump, dealing with a week-long nasty headache, and finally an infected gum area next to the extraction site is about enough to feel jumping off a bridge is a solution. LOL. Well, maybe not that bad. I want to speak a bit about going for the dentures, which I mentioned last week. You think I need them? Went into a day surgery in the hospital and going under general anesthesia. Yikes. Yep, my top dental extractions were 14 teeth out, and it was okay on that end, and everything got stitched up really good, and not a big deal with the whole bleeding gums after tooth extraction. Now, that being said, I did have a couple troubled areas, but not that bad, and not one post-surgery infection. I'd rather play with, I think, radioactive minerals. So I think the process was able to do. I just wanted to give you my experience, and I have a beautiful smile now with great-looking front teeth. Now, the denture fitting took 3 trips for all the procedures. God bless you, Shawn. Sincerely, Harry. Hey, great info there, Harry. Thanks. And that's what I like to do. You get real information by putting it out there, so I'm glad you actually answered my query. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts, hello all, great show. I was lucky enough to score one of the yellow lepidolite specimens a while back. It's 4 by 2.5 inches, one of the large ones. It sits on a slab of polished Edwards black jade. It just pops. I'll bet. Iron creates yellow in lepidolite. Lepidos is Greek for scales. Eyes down. Harry says, hey there, Shawn and lovely Raven and the rest of GSN gang and our brothers and sisters and kids in Rocks and Minerals. Kind of busy, but I will say question 1 is lithium, question 2 is scales. Gotta run. Much love, Harry. You'd be correct on that, Mr. Harry. Miss Gabby. I just put from Georgia, though she calls home a couple different places. Greetings once again, Rock family from Helen, Georgia. Enjoy these cool mornings. Wanted to say how happy I am that Penny and our little hero story had a happy ending, and thrilled to see Penny added to her collection. Big hugs to you both. Was traveling yesterday, so I didn't get to watch the show till a day later. And man, was I pleasantly surprised to see the cat's eye rubellite still available. I collect cat's eye stones. I know, I did. I collect all kinds of optical stones for a while. I still have some leftovers from that. That rubellite was one of them. And I decided to share it. So listen to what she says about the rubellite that I offered. I collect cat's eye stones. Have just recently added a cat's eye indicolite to the collection. Now, rubellite is red tourmaline, indicolite is blue or blue with a little bit of green. Cat's eyes in either one are very rare. Rubellite, very rare. Have just recently added a cat's eye indicolite to the collection and was so happy to see the rubellite. And what a deal. I just knew you were going to say $188, because it was a carat 88. And 100 a carat, absolutely. I could have easily said that and given value for that price. Another reason I was surprised it was still there when it was only $88. So for those of you that might not have known the value of rubellite, trust me, Miss Gabby does. And so for her to say what she just did, you know, is a compliment to how inexpensively I've been offering these things. It's just good to know that other people realize that. So for those of you who don't, just know it from the wiser ones that know the market. I purchased a cat's eye alexandrite from you in a pendant several years ago, and a cat's eye emerald ring also years ago. I remember stones I've had like those. Then it's good to know that you got in on them. When you mentioned that you had sold over 4,000 pieces from your personal collection and couldn't even miss them, I couldn't help but wonder how many of those are now in my house. LOL, almost afraid to count. Don't count, and you're never supposed to look at your invoices either from the show. So nope, that's a no-no, and you can count them. Just make sure that most of them are from the show and here at GSN, because you know you're getting value, and you're also getting true identification, at least the closest I can come, which is pretty close. Also, so glad to hear you found my pending project and are going to try to get a hold of Andrew. Really looking forward to wearing it. I sure hope someone took advantage of that purple sapphire deal. I have seen way more podparachas than I have purples these days. Trivia answer, iron and scales, but she's opting out. Best to everyone, Miss Gabby. Always great to hear from you, Miss Gabby. And also, glad to see those of you who have sent pictures in so I can put faces with the names. Look at this. Well, hello, Shawn. It is from Jimbo, formerly Jimbo in Arizona. Now, Jimbo, he moved to Delaware. I think in retiring, basically, to Delaware. Glad things are moving in the right direction with the house, and hello to the Rock family. I took a trip to Panama and finally came down with COVID, but I'm glad to say I'm back up and running around. I've been catching up on all the shows. I will answer your trivia questions with iron and scale. I really enjoy your show and all the input for the Rock family members. Maybe gold panning next, or a trip back to Georgia. I was in Georgia for 22 years, still have kids back there. I will leave with a proverbial saying. Take a walk on Mother Earth and keep those eyes down. You might find some leverite. Best regards to all, Jimbo. And of course, leverite, for those of you that don't know what it is, it was a life-saving word I applied to so many people that came in. I also became known at the jewelry store for where other jewelers, if people came into their store with a rock and wanted to know what it was because they found it, thought it might have some gold or value, they'd send them to me. So I did it for free because I enjoyed looking at the specimens, and I do it on the spot because I could do that. I just would know what things were. So I have had to burst so many people's bubbles because they think they really have something fantastic. And I would always use the term, oh, what you have is a fantastic leverite, ma'am, and they'd get kind of, giddy, excited, and I'd say, they'd say, well, what is that? I'd say, well, you should leave it right where you found it. And with that, they couldn't help but laugh. It made a situation easy to accept for them to know that they're not alone. There are a lot of people find things that should be left right where they are. But it's neat that people are looking down, and it raises curiosity. So I encourage that, because I tell people you never know when the rock you do pick up might really be something. And so, yeah, that's a great word. Miss Elisa, she says, hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock Hounds. Shawn, I'm so glad to hear that you almost have a laundry room again. Wow, what an ordeal. The rock crystal arrived on Saturday. Thank you. It is so beautiful. And it shouldn't have normally taken that long, but it actually got turned back around. But I knew who it was to go to, so you got it a little later than normal. I have to add, Professor, you really outdid yourself this week, as I have over 4 pages of notes. And with that said, my answers to this week's questions are iron and scale. Well done to you on both. My favorite item was the lepidolite and tourmaline pseudomorph specimen, and that's where that tourmaline crystal was getting eaten up by the lepidolite. Have a great week, everyone. Miss Elisa. We have Penny just dropping in quick. I forgot to mention that I had a busy week last week. I finally subscribed to Rockin' Gem magazine. Well done. Support the hobby from that, and it's so inexpensive and so fun to read. Join my local Rockin' Mineral Club, another excellent thing to do if there's one available to you. Learned our next local rock show is in October and did some other bureaucratic things that I was avoiding. Yes, my credit card is ready to explode, but that's okay. I'll figure things out. I always do. Miss Penny. Good for you, Miss Penny. And you deserve good things. Mr. Charles in Oregon says, ciao, fellow rockhounds. Wow, I feel so lucky to have won the trivia again so soon. And he did, and that was just shows you things wind up where they're supposed to, and for whatever reason, he won those tourmalines and then was the winner again. Once again, like the Afghan tourmaline, I won recently. I used to have tangerine quartz, but gave it all away a long time ago. See, you give away, and what happens? I vaguely remember the merchant claiming that tangerine quartz was a recent discovery. That was about 18 years ago. That would be about right. It feels good to have some again. What goes around comes around, I guess. I'm absolutely going to make a cabochon with that opal. Thank you very much. Which he needed to get back to cutting stones. And so with winning that opal, he has incentive because you can end up with something pretty, with some value. With love, Charles. He's opting out of the trivia. Question 1, iron is the elemental impurity which gives yellow lepidolite its color. That was a very professional way to answer that. Question 2, the Greek word lepidos means scales, like on a reptile, which refers to the crystal habit of lepidolite looking scaly, exactly like the one I sold for so cheap. This week, the winner is Mr. Anthony. Let's show Mr. Anthony what he won. Yep, you never know if you're going to be the winner or not. It can happen multiple times. Mr. Anthony has a true gem, and look at this. So, people can't believe that I actually give these things away, and sometimes I can't believe it myself. Let me get out some of the tools of the trade here, and thank you, Mr. David. Look at these. So look at these faceted emeralds, and Mr. Anthony makes jewelry and cut stones as well. And then it works. So he cuts stones, so it's perfect. These are good even for the collector, these things, because you can put the faceted stones next to the piece of rough. Here is a Bahia, Brazil emerald crystal that you can display with them, and here is another one, and if I remember correctly, let me just put this on my little other doodad flashlight, and yeah, you can see just how translucent and the colors in that. So this is a flashlight unit I use. I guess I could probably clean it, but you can see how effective it could be, and it puts out the yellow light, like you can remember the old incandescent color. Ah, there we go. Thank you for reading my mind there, Dave. Look at that, translucency all the way through. Thank you, sir. So, yeah, a neat little prize. And you know what? As the month of May ends, how perfect is that? Because that is the birthstone for May. All right, let me put those up. We'll be right back with the star of the show. Well, let's start off with a collector's crystal straight out of the gate. These are those rare, especially even more so now. When I first offered these a number of years ago, I held back a few, and that's what you're getting to see now, because absolutely can you not get much of anything from, of course, the country of origin that you're looking at. But for those of you that have gotten these in the past, and I'm talking about the real, true Heliodor beryl, that's color is the yellow color with a little bit of a green tint, but certainly not the golden yellows that are usually attributed to Heliodor now. And the thing about it is if you have one with an origin of Tajikistan, Pakistan, or Afghanistan, they are taking light-colored aquamarines and actually radiating them to yellows. So you have to watch it with some of these stones, especially if they're claiming the origin or one of the three countries I just had mentioned. But this, and for those others that I offered, I want to give you a little more information about it. It is actually from a location called Shilova Gora. Now, Gora means mountain in Russian. Not that I know much about the language, though my father was considered to be the finest scientific Russian translator in the world. That's what he was trained in for the Korean War. And then in private, he made a living and raised 6 children when he left the service by translating declassified documents, Russian scientific documents, into English. And he did it made his living the rest of his life. He did it actually up until he passed this past summer at 91. He was still translating at 88. He never, his mind was as sharp as it could be, and he still, for fun, would answer questions for other Russian translators across the country who couldn't find particular words. He was always able to. So it was kind of neat just to see and read a little bit about the origin of these particular ones. These are not associated with the Ural Mountains. These are actually far to the east and the south of that, and actually associated closer to a town. But there's 3 mountains together there, all ending in the name Gora, and there's kind of a pegmatite field. And this one is from Shilova Gora. Now, one of the ways that you can tell is by something I'm going to show you. So for one thing, this is an amazing clarity. You could actually facet a stone from a portion of this if you wanted to, but it's not something you would want to. One of the things it's known for is etching. And you can see the striated sides, and those are fine, but there's also etching that can occur. And let me see if we can, all right, so you see some of the etching on this side of it. Now, something more so that you can see is shore. So there's shore, which is often associated with barrels, and that, of course, is black tourmaline. But something more so is standing out right there. You can see a white crystal, and there's actually a topaz crystal that is found with these particular barrels from this locality. And with additional magnification, you can look down better at it. I'm kind of curious myself. Let me just try something here for you. And wow, you can really see the tourmaline well. And then I want to show you that long striated tourmaline. You can see the length of it, the longer piece. And then there is the white crystal you can see. Now, you can see the white, but the crystal is actually starts where the little black crystal is. You can see that clear termination, that clear crystal coming out of what looks like a white matrix. And it's that clear crystal that's the topaz. It has a classic topaz termination and body shape of a crystal, which you're going to learn here shortly, just how definitive shape of a topaz crystal is. So you can actually see that it's not just all the white, it is that one clear crystal coming up. Look at that. Great camera work there. Wow. Wow, look at that. All right, so let's back this up, and we're going to show you just how far inside we took you for a trip to be able to look at that. You can actually see that little crystal reflecting down there. That's amazing. This is why, out of all the other crystals, it might be shorter, but it was a keeper when I saw the other information in. You have these other additional crystalline growths that you can see from the side. These can often, if the stone continues, will create a cat's eye effect in stones when it's uniformly and density-wise cut. But you can see that one other one standing up tall. So this one has a lot of neat and interesting things about it. And so for those of you who had gotten those before, more information for you is the location where it's from, which was kind of a secret. They don't ever tell you exactly, especially from this particular country of origin, they don't ever give you exactly the information of the mine. They'll give you the name of the nearest town and whatnot. So did well to find out more about that. Price on that jewel with the extra little goodies is only $58. And it's one of those, quote, miniatures that is unlike any other for the additional minerals within that. Just a special piece. So, yeah. Now, let me show you the next item, which is something I had put together as a collection for myself and now am going to share. It is 111-9023. And this goes kind of really beyond the word special in a way. So I'm going to show you why in a moment. All right. This is a crystal collection. And one of the first things that, of course, you would spot in this, well, let's just generally go over them. Now, I couldn't get all the information in the description, so you need to write it down from the words that I am saying, because there was a lot more to it. But overall, the crystal is from Bahia, Brazil. The sulfur, yes, those are amazing sulfur crystals, are from Mexico, and they are from Baja California, Mexico. So Baja California does not mean California. Baja California means it is that strip of land with the big Gulf or Bay of Baja in between that belongs to Mexico. That's below San Diego. And it is on that peninsula that this is found. Then this is from a classic. It is from Mumbai, India. The hemimorphite is from Santa Eulalia, Mexico. The topaz is from Topaz Mountain, Utah. And so let me show you this collection. And this is something that I hadn't done before, but it's a pretty neat example of some pieces you may not have. And, you know, they're what they call the thumbnail size, but they're really, really nice. All right, so there is that one, the sulfur from Baja. This is amazing because it is a... if you look, you can see a square cube formation right there, and that is an apophyllite crystal in between stilbite crystals in what Raven would call a crumb, you know, something that broke off from something else. Not sure if that's how this occurred, but nevertheless, you can see the cubic, rectangular, square shape right there of that particular crystal. And now I say it's I don't think it would be fluorite. I think it's apophyllite. So it's apophyllite with the stilbites around it from the classic Mumbai location. And then I have, look at this, hemimorphite from a classic Santa Eulalia, Mexico location. hemimorphite, a zinc mineral. Look at this. I have treasured this crystal for decades. Decades. It is, let me see if that's just some goop. Yeah. It is, okay, so here's the termination, a perfect example of a topaz termination. And look at the natural color of a, made in America crystal of Utah topaz. And this would be such a find to find it. Look at the perfect basal cleavage right there. And so even though this would cut a magnificent gem, it would be difficult to make that decision to do something other than marvel at that crystal. Yeah, that would cut a amazing stone. So here, though, is the amazing piece of them all. And let me just get something behind it. Dumortierite. This is the back of it. And you can see that the dumortierite is, thank you, sir, on the interior. When I turn this around, you're going to be amazed at what you see. Look at these crystals. Look at these two amazing crystalline explosions of dumortierite. And the thing that happens most of the time when you have quartz with dumortierite in it is the dumortierite will be on the surface. They call it like snow-capped. It'll be on the exterior. And that's why it's important to show you that the dumortierite is the rarest when it is within the quartz. Now, I'll use my little gizmo here to take us in closer and still hopefully have some light, because look at that. I do. There we go. Now, yeah, I'll do that. Now let me backlight this for a moment. Let me put this right here, and let me get out a tool. If I only had three hands here, and see if I can't show you when Dave takes us in closer. There we go. Now let me add a little bit of light to it here. There we go. There we go. If I can only show it for a moment, it's enough for you to see what this is about. This is one of the rarest inclusions, there we go, you can get in quartz. And it's one of the most dramatic for the color that you see and the clarity of them, and the fact that these are totally enclosed by the quartz. And that's what is so rare, again, because most of the inclusions that you see of dumortierite or crystals are formations on the surface, not true included. Look at that. Look at that. Thank you, sir. That was amazing. As we look at that view, I mean, here is the jewel. Now, I have had some that have been bigger at different times, but that was a long, long time ago. This material is always been expensive, and it has only gotten more so. Look at the other crystals that above those blue needles that are coming from what's left from skeletal shapes of past crystals having grown next to this one. But boy, that is an amazing view. So this is something that can easily be, I say easily, but with a little bit of hang it upside down, wire wrap it, or the other way, or just keep it as part of a collection like I put together. So this is the kind of things I do with the smaller ones like this. I'll put them all together in a neat collection with information and show them and offer, not offer, but keep them in my collection in this manner. So I think we've gone over all of them, and so all we need to do now is talk about price. So what a fun bunch of items, and of course the topaz and the dumortierite are the two money items. And again, what should be a lot more isn't going to be. I am making this only $98 for everything. $98 for everything. So you know, it would be easy to figure the topaz for, as a piece of actual cutting rough from somewhere, if you were to buy that, yeah, that would be greatly expensive. Because actually, if you cut that stone, what it would cut, the finished stone, and as a Utah topaz with what it would finish out at, you'd get, you know, hundreds per carat. It would be a you know, real collector's stone. So yeah. So okay, so San Felipe, Baja California, Mexico. That's where the sulfur is from. The hemimorphite, Santa Eulalia, Mexico. That's of course the hemimorphite. Mumbai, India is for the apophyllite and stilbite. And then Bahia, Brazil for the dumortierite, and Topaz Mountain, Utah for the topaz. $98 for the collection, only going to be the one of like that. Just not going to be able to replace anything else. All right, let me have a minute to put that up, and I'll be right back. You know, I hope you're thinking, boy, what is he going to show us next that we haven't seen in 285 plus shows? And here it is. I have never done this, never offered them. You know why? These have all been in my personal stash. These are slices of nice gem material. And so since I couldn't put all the information again in the tags, here's going to be your information verbally. And you can make note of it or write it down. For one thing, they don't come with the stands. They're kind of not mixed right anyway. So you can figure out how you want to display them yourself. May not even want to use a stand, because I will even offer to drill all 6 of those. I don't know, you know, 6 of those for, yeah, I gotta get something, because what I'm asking for them all is much. So for like, you know, $25 if you want them drilled. Now, odd thing is, it's only 5, so I wouldn't have to drill this one, would I? Look at this. This is one you wouldn't get, because you would never have a chance to get this. It is, like I said, these are all made and sliced by me, and then I've sprayed them that gives them a little bit of a wet look. Now you can spray them further and, you know, fill in a lot of these impurities, and also to see these saw cuts on this. On this side, it's amazing, without being having anything sprayed on it, you don't see any cuts. So maybe there's a lesson there for me. Stop spraying this stuff, Shawn. That's what Raven tells me anyway. Here's a natural hole in this. This is grossular garnet. This is from a big crystal, and it's actually hydrogrossular garnet. So it's grossular garnet with a hydroxyl molecule attached to it. And it's also sometimes called Transvaal jade or African jade. You can see some of the colors, but look at the clarity. Look how thin this is. This is a really neat, unusual piece to have. Not many people would actually have a hydroxy or hydrogrossular garnet like that. This, look at the green to this. Whoops. Here we go, Bahia emerald, and you can see it's that's an emerald crystal there, and this side nicely sprayed also. So not many people could say they'd have a slice of emerald crystal. These were all set up. I had them, so I was going to do a a wind chime. I know there's another word for it. I can't think of, but of course you don't put it outside. An indoor drilled, hangy thing. How's that? Look at this. Here is an amazing 6-sided, beautiful ruby in, well, not many people would have believed this, but the green in this is the same mineral as tanzanite is. It is a zoisite. And the black, they used to want to call it Shermacite, after the mineralogist Shermack. It isn't. It is not Shermacite. It is actually pargasite, a black variety of pargasite. So I had been, of course, taking information that other sources had for it, and so it's no longer what others had said it was for decades. But it's good to know what it actually is. All right, now, look at this. So when I tilt this, you see this reflection right there? You see that? That's why I had kept this piece over others for this project, was because of that. I thought it would be neat with the sun shine, because this will absolutely let light pass right through it. But when a crystal, even a small one, see that on the other side? That reflection does that. That is a real good sign that it, of course, you can imagine this was actually probably this big originally before I started slicing it up. But if I had chosen to cut a cabochon from this crystal and it had that pattern in it, let's say, I would first dome the end of it and see if it didn't star. Because when you're trying to figure out if a corundum crystal, which is the mineral for ruby and sapphire, is going to star or not, that is one of the things you can look for to help assist you that, yes, it may have an opportunity to star. As a slice like that, that chatoyant reflection is really cool. That's just really cool to have it in your slice like this. So some of these might, another, coating of my cheesy spray would be a good idea. This one I always thought, perfect place to drill it and hang it right there if you chose to do so. Look at this. No one's gonna have this. Yeah, this is the petrified wood from Blue Forest, Wyoming. Blue Forest, Wyoming petrified wood. And so here's both sides. It has a little nub left on it. But you see this? This is why I kept this piece. That is a wormhole. That's from where a worm had bored into the wood, and then chalcedony filled that in. And you can see how that's a different color than this material. There's also a band of chalcedony around this also. And this is a amazing, really cool slice of, look at the clarity right there behind that, of Blue Forest petrified wood. And just really unique. Who else is going to have that? Here, just a really neat, simple slice of pink tourmaline in quartz from Brazil. Here's our education for a wonderful, wonderful cutting material. And it's aventurine. So aventurine has the chromium-bearing fuchsite type of mica called fuchsite, and it's what's green and gives it the little reflections that you see in aventurine. Often it's within a feldspar base, feldspar matrix. Often it can be a feldspar silica mix, and that's how you get some other different layers of color and translucency in there. That's a neat, unusual piece. So I think we have covered the 6, and like I said, I'd drill them the 5, or if you want another drill place on the hydroglosser, the 6 for $25 additional dollars. But when all 6 are only That's pretty silly, but are only $88 to start with. You're, well, as we used to say it when we would buy something at an opportunity lower than what the market value is in the wholesale market, it's called making money on the buy. So, again, it's one of those things that, well, where are you going to find another 6 slices like that? And think about this aspect of them. What a great start they would be for being Christmas tree ornaments. Miss Gabby has the ones that are painted after actual big cabinet quality and size mineral specimens she has on wood that Summer does, if anyone wants any. That's Raven's daughter. Which are magnificent, and I hope she has kept her tree up year round because it made an amazing Christmas tree, and unlike what anyone else would have. These could also go down that same path and be tremendous Christmas tree ornaments, and a great start. So, you know, 6 at $88, that is less than $15 each. And what may, by the time time it takes to saw these, cut them, spray them, and all that, there's no money to be made on my end. And when you think that that price includes the ruby and zoisite piece alone, and the blue forest petrified wood piece that no one else would have, yeah, those two make up really the value. But the grossular garnet, go find another one of those. So really a great, great opportunity for someone to get in on. All right, now let me keep moving here. And well, to do this right, I'm gonna have to stop for a second. I'll be right back. Look at this. This is what it looks like when you have a natural amethyst and natural color and cut well for a pear shape. For one thing, see the little zoning? The other thing, it has some natural inclusions in it. Look at the difference in coloring. You want to see that for a natural stone. I actually am going to do a presentation one of these days on amethyst. I actually have certified fake amethyst that was lab grown, and a great story behind the stone. And anyway, you learn a good bit. But I cover a lot of it right here as far as what you want to look for. In the good stuff, in amethyst, you see the red, pink flashes coming out of that. You see some towards the darker zone, which is the tip in an amethyst in a pear shape often. That's what you want. Also the blue, any blue reflection. So to get that out of a smaller stone, often those colors are achieved through saturation, and the saturation is attained through larger stones that have a greater depth passing through them. So to get that in a stone that's only 2.60 carat, that's more uncommon. You have to start off with a really well saturated stone to start with. Normally don't really offer single stones like this too much, but this was a nice, pretty gem. And considering that I am going to offer this stone for the pricing opportunity of, well, and this does not reflect what the value of the amethyst actually is, okay? So when I tell you this, it doesn't, I don't want you to think that it cheapens it just because it's so far below any pricing you may have heard or seen elsewhere. That probably closer reflects the value of amethyst than the pricing that I offer on these. Because this one is going to be a whopping $18, which is like $7 a carat. So it would be difficult to find any amethyst like that, cut like that, to be replaced at that price, let alone offer it at that price. Now, following that up, let me show you something else. Item 111. 0323. 1110323. And this is one of the jewels left over from where I sold so many of those other estate pieces. And, you know, my next step on this would, you know, be to put it in another market. But I really thought that someone from all of you might be interested before I offered it elsewhere, where it would wind up to be marketed differently. Nice word for saying at a higher price. So here is a big, large estate Brazilian amethyst and diamond ring. 2/3 of a carat of nice diamonds. And here is a substantial mounting. Balancing beads work great. And this one would have been roughly size 10 with the balancing beads in them. And they really work if you ever want to solve a problem of a big top-heavy ring that's turning. It's a great solution. That or a spring bar is what you can ask your goldsmith for. So nice substantial split prongs and gallery to this. And I have a new price on this. Yes, a new price that is going to sound ridiculous, actually, but nevertheless, I am going to make it. I keep just thinking, how low can we go? Wow, the weight of it, the size of the stone, the weight of what the diamonds would sell for to put it together separately, everything else about it. But let's go ahead and I know. I don't know how to spit the words out of my mouth. $777. $777 on that. And lucky sevens. It was going to be that or my other auspicious number, which is 888. So I figured triple sevens is less money, so that's going to be actually a little bit luckier in this situation of better right. And you know, this is a piece with large diamonds that really complement it on the side. It's there's nothing understated about it. It's a fantastic, large, 18 karat, beautiful piece. $777. I'm still trying to accept that myself. Okay, now I have opportunity here that is for everyone, and it is one of those deals that you can actually have some fun with after you get it. Item number 1119223. 1119223. Look at this. Look at that. Beautiful. 10 types of gemstones. And let me show you. Here, this is interesting. I just noticed right off. This amethyst, and I noticed the zoning in it. So natural color. So since we were speaking about amethyst, I don't know, I just was drawn to it. Pearls. Look at these. They're actually half drilled. I know Anthony always looks for pearls. Look at that, half drilled pearls. I took them out of an estate piece. So we have garnets. You're going to know most of these. And let me see the ones that you may not. Oh, look at this. There's 4 different tiger eye. There's citrine. There's actually a match pair of citrine. Then look at all these tanzanites, all these smaller stones that are the bluish in color. They are tanzanites. There's emeralds, rubies. Look at that. Look at the cut of that ruby. Wow. Oh, that's brilliant. There's another ruby. There's quite a few number. And then look at the sapphires. And again, sapphires, if they look black or you don't really see any blue in them, then there's really very little value to them. But when they look like that and are cut like that, you have a nice, brilliant stone. But many times you have to carry the dark stones, even though that still has a blue color to it, for replacement stones if you're doing replacement work for other people. But look at that blue. So here's the, look at this. Look at this. There's a diamond. There's a diamond. There's actually 2 diamonds that match in this batch. Look at that. There must be like 3 points each. So I think I covered all 10 different stones that are in here, or that you may wonder what they were. Look at all these incredible, beautiful cuts. These are not just any old garnets. Look at the heart-shaped garnet. And there, look at this heart-shaped garnet back here. I remember selling those here years ago. Heart-shaped especially, they were not cheap. Look at that ruby, or if you wanted to call it, look at that pink sapphire. Stunning. All right, so there we go. 10 different types of stones, and for 25 carats of material, including 2 diamonds in there. So that's where it's fun, is going and sorting them all. So let me just kind of give you another look. You can see how many sapphires, how many different other emeralds, how many rubies. So you have the big 3, actually the big 4 with the diamonds included, along with the pearls. All of that fun stuff for a total of only $37. $37, $1.50 a carat. Is that not an opportunity, or what? There won't be another one that inexpensive with that many different kind of items in it. That was just something I had put together from breakouts. In other words, stones that I took out of other mountings that I ended up melting the gold on. And so I ended up with a mix, and so I thought that you might appreciate it. Now, let me see here. Okay, I am going to get to some items that I normally don't do very often, but I do want to show you, since you might be a little bit more knowledgeable now, item number 1105223. Now, there is an opportunity for, let me see how many I have left. I have 2 parcels left. And this is, again, just something very unique. These are Namibian goethite. Now we know goethite is an iron oxide mineral. And so it's goethite after pyrite. 9 stones, and I know it's in here exactly where they are from, which is always, let me just get some of these out real quick and put them in the tray. And so I'm going to show you goethite in a minute. Okay, look at the shapes of these. If picture them brassy colored, they look just like pyrite. Goethite does not form in this crystal system. I'm actually going to show you a specimen of it. Now, I can touch these and they don't get all that black on my fingers or anything. They're just in not a petroidal formation, they're a pseudomorph. So what happened was the original pyrite crystal, through hot liquids, or however Mother Nature decided, dissolved away the pyrite and replaced it with a iron oxide instead of an iron sulfide that pyrite is. So collect 40 grams from the limonite from the Ondara mine. And I have, by the way, listed the limonite because see some of that other mineral material. You know how thorough I try to be and answer all your questions, anticipate them. So they are only $16 a parcel. Here's the other one. I won't take it out, but you can see it's going to be equally similar. And that's just, they make great gift stones because I know even the mine that they came from, so you can give them to a collector and feel knowledgeable about that and feel like they're not going to scoff at something like that because, you know, even though something may not be real expensive, it may not be real available. And it may be absolutely nothing like what they have in their collection. So you can't, just because the words pyrite or goethite are used, the key word is the pseudomorph. And then the other thing is the location they came from. Very desirable and very collectible. And then, of course, the price. Come on. $16 a parcel, only 2 parcels left. So get in on them while you can. Now, what I have next is 111 8723, if I can see right. And I'll show you this, and I'm going to show you the other specimen in a moment. Check this out. Now, if you might have seen the ring, if the ring, I don't know if it's still available or if it's sold, but this would be a great companion piece to incredible Tasmanian serpentine. And here's the cool thing about this serpentine. You can actually see the crystals of it. And crystallized serpentine is not something that you commonly see. The other thing is stichtite. That's this purple mineral. And it is found with the green serpentine like that. What a color combination. So stichtite, I have it even listed in the description that you see that Asif so gratuitously and nicely put up there. Magnesium chromium carbonate. So that's where, you know, helping you learn a few of your basic element chemical symbols. Mg, magnesium, Cr, chromium, and Co is carbon and oxygen, but together with the 3, that's the same thing as a carbonate, like calcium carbonate is a CaCO3. If you had just a manganese carbonate, you would have rhodochrosite, and iron carbonate is siderite, etc. So this is a magnesium chromium carbonate in that beautiful purple color, in the crystalline shapes, among the crystalline shapes of the serpentine. Lots of, look at that, lots of serpentine. It actually is a big group, the serpentine subgroup, they call it. And there's a lot of variances in colors of serpentine. But never have I seen a piece that really set apart the serpentine crystals in such a well-defined way. Sterling silver, nice large bale, really fantastic piece, and nothing else like it. When I see something like it, I know instantly that it is a Tasmanian piece. Now, Tasmania is the other Australian territory that is a island territory, actually, that is south of the continent of Australia, but belongs to Australia. And of course, the Tasmanian devil you have heard of before. That's that other cool, crazy little wild animal. And if I ever had to go back to Australia, you know, really, I could probably spend all my time just on the island of Tasmania for its uniqueness, for the flora and fauna. But for minerals also, yes. And Stichtite Hill is the basic location where this material is found, and it's really just a unique piece. $68 for the whole thing. Only $68 for the entire piece. Look how big that is. This, if you just consider this a mineral specimen on its own, and it didn't even have any metal around it, or was it made as a pendant, as a cabochon, it'd be worth the $68 alone. I'm curious about one thing. Let me see if light passes through the stick tight at all. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, so there is little areas, thank you, sir, that light is able to pass through. So let me just sit that down there, right there for a moment. And I tell you what, let me tuck that away along with the pseudomorphs, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is your other form of goethite that is beautiful in its own way. As Raven says, there's no such thing as an ugly rock. And after, I got to thinking about it, if you're truly a rock hound, that's the truth. There is no such thing as an ugly rock. If I was Charlie Brown and people gave me rocks for Halloween or Christmas, whatever it may be, I'd be happy. And actually, one of the greatest ideas I had going back decades ago, when people would travel and whatnot, just like I did, people would always ask, what can I bring you back? And I'd always say the simplest thing they can do. All I ever wanted to know was the exact location. I'd always say, bring me back a rock. Just write down exactly where it came from. So I have a rock from kind of like a fjord in Newfoundland, where the tide goes up and down almost 50 feet, and it was low tide. So I got a rock when it's normally under, tens of feet of water, is one location. I got another one from a base of a glacier. I got another one from the island of Sardinia. Another one, and it went on and on. And so I have all these other rocks from these unique and different places. And my son, he's been great. He actually takes a picture of where he has the rock from. And of course, being in the military, he's traveled to some really unique places. May take me a while to get it back from him after seeing him get it, but so I have some neat memories of that. So you can always start and do the same thing. When people go, even if they don't ask you anymore, what can I bring you back, because they don't want to bring you back anything, ask them to bring you back a rock. And anyone can pick it up anywhere, and it's okay to have a rock, but just don't get your rock from a petrified national forest, petrified wood national forest, or any national parks or places where it is not allowed, because then you get the bad mojo that comes with it. So look at this. Dave appropriately named it exactly what it is, because I only saw the movie again not long ago, The Blob. The Blob. Oh yeah, that 1950s movie, which is great. I love those old black and white movies, where you might be able to see the string, the fishing line attached to the bat going through the room for, special effects, but everything was real. Everything they did in special effects wasn't computer generated. It wasn't all this artificial intelligence stuff that is so scary now. It was had to be modeled in these small modeling situations. And when you think about the effort they went through to do it and create these floods and these things and these pictures, it adds a whole new dimension and appreciation for them. So, The Blob. Great name. Look at this. Look at the size of this. This is actually cabinet quality size goethite, and absolutely stunning in its botryoidal, let's just use this word, botryoidalness. Yeah, in its botryoidalness. I cut across the bottom so that it would stand on its own. It does have some weight, and let's see if, look at that, full of iron. And no, not magnetic. And that is scientific reason I could explain to you on another day, but it's about those positive and negative electrons, and it anyway counteracts and each other. So look at the back of it. This is even an attractive formation to the back. There's also some sparkly things right here, because there's always a chance to find specular hematite in with these specimens. But this is a really showy piece, and I am deeply discounting it. This is part of big sale day today. I am making that specimen, well, this is ridiculous. $38. $38 for that one, and it's all yours. Wow, that is a prize. Now, let me see this next one. Here we go, item 1108823. If I read that right. I think I did. Now, you can hear that that is a rock. Yeah, no soft landings around here. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, let's compare the two. Look at this. Beautiful, shiny. Oh, maybe I gave you the wrong item number, because that is... Yep, sorry about that. Asif, it's 1106823. That machine almost closes those sixes. Couldn't be my eyes, no. All right, so we're gonna move the blob. That would actually be quite a specimen in a display case, though, because it'd be really unique and help explain goethite to people that don't really understand all the different forms it can come in, all the appreciable forms it can come in. Now, this is stunning because it has Moroccan fluorite and fluorescent orange calcite crystals. You can see, look at this big crystal right here standing and setting itself apart. It also, it's from the El Haman mine, so we know exactly where it's from. And there we go. That gives you a better visual, actually. Look at that. That's what I was looking for. It's like, well, it says fluorite. Where's the fluorite cube? Well, until I turned it at the angle, then you can see the fluorites pop out. Look at that. Look at that. It kind of blends in until you just turn the angle, and then you get to see some of the cubes, or the calcite as well. Look at the calcite. And then this one is one where fluorescence can separate the fluorite from the calcite. And that would be the easiest thing to do. Look at the banding in that. That would actually make some nice slabs. Oh, here we go. I just needed to turn it over. There's the fluorite. Now there may be some green, clear fluorites up on the top level up there, and that's where, of course, you can check the fluorescence out to see the difference. But here's lots of fluorite there, and some crystallized versions. Then look at this pyrite. There's a pyrite crystal right there. More pyrite. There's pyrite in the seams. Pyrite right there. So look at that. There's a whole little area of pyrite. This would make a great specimen in a fluorescent case. Just really nice. And also, because I have this one priced for sale, you know, when you get a specimen and you get the information and the exact locality and some of the unique factors to it, and then it's priced at only $28, you can't go too wrong. You can't go too wrong. And when it has size like that. So, and like I said, so it's double-sided. So the piece wonderfully displays here. There's crystals up here, your fluorite here. pyrite showing right there, or you can turn it around and display it this way with the calcites and potential fluorites. It'd be fun to see what all is that. Yeah, there we go. That's the way to display it for that side. This other side, look at that natural display. And I like that when you don't have to always use a stand. So, cool piece. Now, next, this is a surprise to me. Item 110, 9423. And I even had dropped the price. I have not had the opportunity to offer anything like these before, and I looked at how much they were going for. Now, if your TV doesn't allow you to see the green in these like the human eye does, well, just, you know, again, even this show, you can return anything you want. You won't hurt my feelings, but more so, I want you to realize and get the deal that you're getting. These are Tanzanian Saberites. Now remember, Saberite just making all the news with the Lion of Merilani being donated to the Smithsonian, opening up their new wing with that magnificent over 116 cut, finished weight, stunning size garnet. So these coming from the same mine or close enough to it, and how neat is that? These are, of course, big money in the marketplace. It's a type of grossular garnet. There is, I had priced these, I'm looking, yeah, the retail on them when I was looking it up was like $250 a carat. I had these at only $50 a carat when I offered them to everyone, and that came out to $156, which is, with 6 of them, approximately only $26 a stone. $26 a stone is what my last price I offered them at, and you know, I am surprised no one took advantage of them. Let's do this. It's a Memorial Day sale, and I hope someone takes advantage of them, because again, once you price them and see them in person, you're going to realize that you bought a quarter for a dime, a quarter for a nickel. Yeah. You almost found them on the street. Let's do this. 6 stones. I am going to make these less than $20, $118. $118 for all 6. That is, of course, less than $20 a piece. And that is a, well, again, that's where you make money on the buy. They're 6 stones. They were in one piece, so they're matched certainly well enough. And you're getting the real deal. There's no treatments to them. And again, let me do one thing here. We take the magnet to it, and there is no attraction to the magnet, and that's what you want. That's what separates the Tanzanian grossular from andradite or any other type of other gemstone that it could be. Now, yeah, to get those for less than $20 a piece, yeah, what a deal. All right, I have something for you mineral collectors out there. 111, 8823. And here is a rarity. Let me put that right here. And what I'm going to show you, I had a couple of these some time ago, but these were the ones I had kept for my personal collection. We're talking about Vesuvianite. Vesuvianite. The other name given to it that didn't stick as much as Vesuvianite was Ida Craze. And here are the incredible, desirable Pakistani Vesuvianites in that root beer color. And it is unmistakable. What a perfect name for the color. I am going to illuminate these in a moment, but let's talk about these crystals for a moment as well. They have calcite crystals attached to them, and the calcite crystals are actually nicely formed when you look at them with magnification. And this with the multiple crystal clusters together, and then a grouping of calcite crystals down here, it's quite an attractive piece to investigate and look at closely. Now, let me give you a little bit of illumination here on some of these. So let me see how well, if we can get some color from some edges on this, or at least see the specimen. There we go. There we go. There we go. There's that root beer color. And they actually are transparent all the way through when you get the illumination of them right. But look at that. You can see what a perfect name for that coloring. So thank you, sir. This was from a relatively new find in Pakistan, and I am going to offer both of those crystals for only $48. $48. And they are also, if you saw some sparkliness, what a word, to it, there is incredible clinochlor, little clinochlor crystals that are covering some of the calcites. And it's really neat to see them up close as well. So it's a multi-mineral crystals. You know, these are look at that. Wow. And this is the size. They don't get real big. I haven't seen many real specimens very large. So this is a nice size to have in the collection. And again, both of those for only $48. And out of the ones that I had gotten, they were better, or at least to me, more attractive than the others. The original Vesuvianite, named after Mount Vesuvius in Italy, where one of the original discoveries of the mineral was found. So a proper name, giving information just like I like. Now, let me show you a item. It is 1100-323. And here, again, for really anybody, because I was actually told many, many, many years ago by this wonderful lady. Her name is Dudley. She probably passed away by now, but she had an incredible collection of gemstones. And what she told me was what helped me collect for decades. She said, Shawn, just when you see an opportunity comes up, even if it's $10, $15, $25 to get some gemstones, she goes, buy them. Just start buying some items here and there and put them in a gem tube and put them in your 50 gem tube display case, and before you know it, you'll have it full. And she was right. I started buying up as these dealers came through, just small little parcels of this and that. Before I knew it, I had, as some of you have realized, I had a large collection of stones, and then later with my jewelry store, I mean, I was able to sell them. I was able to use them. I used them for replacements in projects. Look at the colors of these garnets. I mean, this is opportunities when a parcel comes up like this, and when it's offered for what I'm offering them for. It's the kind of deal that I would look for, but not often find. But in this show, for all of you, it's pretty much every item like this. You're buying it for way less than even I could repurchase them for. The issue is, why do I sell them? Because I have been buying these and adding them to my collection for so long that it's now time to sort through some of them and offer some. Here's 7x5s, calibrated, 20 carats worth, 19 stones, matched, wonderfully cut if you noticed. And they're almandine garnets, and the best way to tell an almandine garnet is right there. Almandine garnet is a garnet with iron in it, with high enough content of iron that it can be picked up with a magnet. When you start having only a slight response, then sometimes it might be mixed with pyrope garnet, because your rhodolite garnet is a pyrope almandine mix. Your color change Malaya garnets are also garnets mixed with other varieties of garnets. So you can't always tell for certain if the entire garnet is almandine, but you certainly know that almandine or iron is present in the stone. And that's always a great place to start to figure out what it is. So here we go. I have this chance for you, and the entire parcel of 20 carats now, sale priced. Yep, sale priced. You guys, yeah, you're gonna get a deal here. This is kind of just crazy, but $28. $28 for all of them. And again, that doesn't represent the actual value of garnet. It's just an opportunity for someone to buy something, well, again, to make money on the buy. Yep, to make money on the buy. That is what I always was told to do, and I'm giving all of you that chance now. Not always bright on my side, but before it goes elsewhere, I'm going to give you guys a deal. Just like on these diamonds. Let me get these diamonds organized, and I will be right back. Well, it's not a diamond, but it is USA made. Right? In Reynolds County, Missouri, chalcopyrite. Now, if you know what pyrite looks like, and we talk about it, the cube shape, and you saw the pseudomorph by the goethite, well, how are you going to really learn it unless you have chalcopyrite, which is a iron sulfide infused with copper as part of its chemical formula. But it's of a whole different crystal system. And so it's easy to recognize pyrite when you have the cubic forms, but it doesn't always make it that easy for you, nor does chalcopyrite. But until you look and learn and have a specimen to compare the crystal shapes to, that's how you learn the difference. This piece happens to be all chalcopyrite. It also has calcite, but not to confuse things, but there can also be dolomite that often looks like calcite. You can often put a fluorescent, long wave fluorescent light on it and see if you can get a orange fluorescence. Calcite doesn't always fluoresce, so but that's one thing you could check to eliminate some things, because if it fluoresced, you know you're dealing with calcite in most likely. So here's the back. Here's some additional crystals along here. It's just of a crystallized like quartzite matrix. Just a really nice, classic, easy specimen. Chalcopyrite, tetragonal crystal system, pyrite isometric, isometric meaning equal size. Same crystal system as other minerals like, well, diamond for one. And anyway, I have got this specimen now, if you're interested, $18. $18 on that. Can't go wrong. Now, yes, you did hear me mention diamond, and I am going to follow with a amazing deal. Item 1109623. 1109623. And here is a parcel that is a classic parcel. And by that, I mean it's the size that is so commonly needed and used as a bench jeweler. Plus, if you ever wanted to study and learn about diamonds, these are big enough, plenty large enough, to be able to see the inclusions, to be able to see the cutting, to be able to grade them for color against one another. Diamonds are graded through their sides, not through looking at the top of them. The brilliance of a diamond can negate color when you're looking straight down on them. So that's why diamonds are graded through their side, so you can it's always nice to actually establish like a master set. In other words, a series of diamonds of different colors going from D, E, F, G, H, I. If you have every other one, then you can grade most diamonds. As you can see, even with this supposed matched parcel, there are some color variations in it, but you never would see that looking straight down on them. Like, I see a little bit more color in a couple of stones there versus a couple down here, and so on. So, but they're only like a color off. But these overall would be considered, you know, white. They're certainly you certainly don't see yellows. If anything, they have a little bit of champagne maybe in them. They're cut really well. They're VS to SI in clarity, so really, really nice clarity. 3 millimeters, carat 10 total weight and 10 stones there. Exactly the weight they should be for the diameter they are. So what that says right there, especially across this many stones, that they were well cut. You know, you can't judge it on just 1 or 2 stones. If you have this many and the average is out what it does, then yeah, you can make a judgment and say that. So, carat 10, I had these priced at $177 for a carat's worth of carat 10 in 10 stones. That is, you know, less than $18 a stone. Simply crazy in price. So this will be the last opportunity price-wise that I'm going to make as far as discounting them. I am going to offer these at an unheard of deal and make it only $158. $158. Oh my goodness. For a carat 10 of diamonds in that quality, wholesale. I am not kidding you. I am talking about $500 a carat is what they would cost now in the market. And remember, diamonds, the natural diamonds, not the lab-grown diamonds, they're going to become rarer and rarer. It's going to become the thing a more unique thing as lab-grown diamonds are becoming more and more accepted in the marketplace. But it is not anything that we sell here at Gem Shopping, and I am proud to be able to say that no synthetics. We're really strict about all that. Item 110, 7223. While we're talking about diamonds, let me show you a last amazing opportunity. And what I have here, I'm not going to take them out because they look so nice, just all nestled in there together. But look at that. Look at that. Those are 3 matched. Now, if you remember the wedding band I had that had baguettes, well, they were all basically emerald cuts. And so no one had bought it. So it was 18 carats, a nice ring. I took it apart and separated the diamonds. And now I'm offering the diamonds at an amazing discount. So they're emerald cuts. In other words, the corners have a facet across them. Baguettes have the pointed corner, making it so difficult to set. When they have emerald cuts, true emerald cuts, with the corners cut and the facets coming up and down from the pavilion on the crown, then it makes it much easier to set. Plus, they're a lot prettier. Baguettes and emerald cuts have to be clean, or else the flaws are so easily visible. These, look at the color, nice white color. VS clarity, meaning no inclusions. You can see with really a 10 power loop. Yeah, there were, I could have called them a higher clarity. They were so nice. So 3 match stones, 80 point total weight. So these are bigger than a 1/4 carat each. Remember, I think it was Sue in Texas that said she had to buy a 1/4 carat diamond. It cost her $500 or $600, and that was at a deal. And then, you know, she had bought a round stone from me for less than $200, I think, and she was just amazed. Well, these 3 stones I have offered at an average of only $150 a piece, which, you know, at that price for a 1/4 carat diamond, you should just buy them, put them up until you need them for something else. Or, well, you know, when you buy something way less than the face value, like in a coin, you can always get your money back or the face value of the item.
150 a parcel?
No, they were averaged, my price was $450 for the 3, $150 each, way below market. Here we go. Last and final price on these 3 stones. For the Memorial Day weekend sale, I am going to make the 3 of those only, what is a nice even number that in my head I can come up with that is super inexpensive. Well, let's do this. Only, oh my. If I do that, then I do that, $488. No. $388. That's the number. $388. Shawn, you're insane. $388. That gets a final big F next to it. Mostly for me being a failure to be able to make a profit. That's what I get the F for there. Really, that was my issue. I could never charge the big money that I needed to keep the jewelry store going on all. You know, it was just like, well, I made a few bucks. That's enough. Well, and you guys see that now. I still have that issue now. And that's why at some point I have to just say, okay, I'm not going any lower because there's other markets. And I just want to do all of y'all a favor when I can. All right. And that is certainly the favor of the day on those 2 pieces. Now, let me show you. I have, well, that's a treasure. Here we go. What do we have here? Is that, no item number. That was a lesson stone I was going to do, but we don't have quite the time for that. Oh, that's a neat free item someone will appreciate. I'm just talking to myself. I have a cultured pearl necklace here that I guess You know, I'll get that out another next week or something and offer the deal on that, because I need to put that displayed out correctly on a necklace and to show it right. Okay. Now, grabbing through some items here, I want to show you item. Oh, I know. Okay. Let me show you, because there's only a couple left if you want them. I have, this is item number 1017021. And I have two of these left. So what they are the fulgurites. And I'm saying that because, you know, the way these are presented with the box and the information, it's a really great opportunity. From lightning strikes, collected in the 80s from the sifting shakers of a mine producing fine sand for building materials. There was one fella that knew what they were when they were left over in the bottom of the shaker when they were processing sand in Polk County, Florida. And he kept them over decades of time that he worked there, a long time. And he had a large assortment of them. And I was able to get in on getting a large number of them, and after they were properly processed, and look at that. So they always say that a lightning bolt is about the width of a pencil. And that's always hard to imagine when you see how bright it is and how illuminated a lightning bolt is. But it is not very wide, and you can see by that I had a pencil here, a pen, and I was going to actually show you, but I think you can physically see that that is about the width of a pencil. And on the inside, it's glassy because it fuses the sand, it's so hot, into a glass surface. The outside is more of just the sand. Yeah, you look at that. See that shiny surface right there? So with the Riker box and label, I can't guarantee whichever one you get. There's two left. These are going to be priced at what they have been, because I have already discounted them to the bottom, and I believe that is $21 each. So that's the one. Here is the other, and it also has a really nice classic shape to the perfect opening for the lightning bolt, and you can see the fused glassy part of the sand. So just a really unique item, and or a great gift item for somebody to give, because of the way it's put together and its presentation. That is makes it really attractive that way. Now let me show you. You have already heard, I think it was Miss Cindy that said what a deal she got. She realizes now on a agatized coral. Wow. Asif, I hope you can pull this number up. It is, this is an oldie, so it is an item that I haven't been as excited to sell. 76, 17, 18. Meaning it's just, well, I'll show you. So we had these displayed. It's one of the items we had displayed behind us, which I often, you know, they're beautiful back there, but I seldom show them. So these stands don't come with them, but I'm just going to show you in general. They're against a couple of stands. This is a pair. Let me put them together. These were actually, I'm going to use the word mined, but John, he had a grandfathered in a license and mining permits to go on the Withlacoochee where no one else could. And he was amazing because he would find these items in the river, haul them up, he'd sew them, and then he'd polish them. Look at this piece. Look at this. If you saw this on the shore along the river, you would never think it was anything but a rock. Now this surface, of course, is sharp. It's the way it formed, but you can also see, look at this, you can see the actual form, original form of the coral and the way it grew. Well, that was when Florida, now remember the Withlacoochee and the Swanee River are in central Florida on the Georgia-Florida border. All of Florida was underwater. And so coral formed because it was shallow water over Florida. Well, with time and the buildup of sand and the receding of the water caused the coral to get buried under, it's about 30 or 40 feet, sometimes 20 feet under deep overall. And as the rivers cut through the deposit of where the sand was, it cut through over the top of where the coral heads were. And over the 25, 30 million years, the silica from the sand, it provided the silica needed to replace the coral. And what you had was an amazing array of agatized coral. Look at this one half. Look at the formations, the stalactite and stalagmite type of formations and unusual pockets of growth. This is incredible, incredible agate that cuts beautiful, beautiful shapes. Look at this. This isn't one of Shawn's spray polishes. This is a real flat lap polish. And they made wonderful items in my aquariums. I had saltwater and fresh. And I look back into this opening, you can see how far back in there it actually goes. And these, again, are just really fun to look at and investigate. And the other thing is that there's also chalcedony that forms. I find that the chalcedony that forms with these corals is often fluorescent. Let me just look back in there for a minute. There we go. That's what I wanted to show you. How, look at that. So back in there, way back in there, you have formations that have formed. Look at those straw formations. This is such an attractive collector's piece. And that's the one half. You know, here's the other half. And for the pair, what I'm asking is, I'm sure, a fraction of the market price. How about this? I'm going to offer both of those, and they're one of the largest pairs I have, for only $88. $88. And Withlacoochee River coral, approximately in these 40 million years old. A beautiful, beautiful polished pair, 4.7 pounds, 9 by 6 inches. Just a lovely, lovely opportunity for someone to get in on those. Now, in sticking with that theme, I have item number 86. Let me better read this closer. 966620. 966620. And wow, look at this.
966.
20. Not 3 6s, 9. Yeah, 666. And now, look at this. This is a amazing, again, polished pair of Withlacoochee river coral. Now remember, the other agatized coral comes from Tampa Bay, but it looks totally different on the outside. This, look how beautiful that looks like. You can see the actual coral, as if it was still alive. And look at that. Then you even get the worm borers that would actually burrow into the live coral. Look at the formations on the inside. A real polish on the surface. No one would ever know what was really on the inside of these in looking at them, but they look just like coral, except that beautiful, beautiful agate pair to them. So a great, great opportunity. You know, here's how they can look in a stand. Just beautiful. But the stand doesn't come with them. At these kind of prices, I'm a cheapskate. So here's your chance at the pair. I am putting these on sale and making both of them. I hope someone takes advantage of this, because this is not the price that really reflects the value to them. $38 for the pair. That's just a special Memorial Day sale on those. All right, as the minutes are clicking down, I'm trying to get to some of the items that have been behind me I haven't gotten to show you. And this next one, this is some of those incredible carvings. Item number, and I'm going to sale price this one for certain, item number 1090922. And look at that. Look at that. All carved out of one piece. And this is mottled serpentine. So you know about serpentine, it comes in many colors. It's often found with other minerals as well, play a part in it. And these are actually can hold water. So you can actually put flowers, genuine flowers in them. Here is another area you could create an incense burner in these. They have intricate carvings. Look at this, and all in one piece, and nice rust colored. They're engraved by the carver somewhere. Apparently, I discovered that. I don't see it right offhand, but they'll be marked. Oh, there it is, right there, which is often has to be done for export. I know these are at least 30 or 40 years old, could be older, but my sale price to you on this, you're not gonna believe it. Memorial Day sale, what an opportunity at, well, a huge discount. It was only $58, but now, let's grab your interest and make it $38. Only $38 for that kind of carved intricacy. Unheard of. Unheard of deal for you. All right, let me see what I can. Oh, this has to be interesting for somebody. Let me see. Because I have, yeah, two crystals here that are really nice. It's item number 1105023. 1105023. It's a crystal collection, and of course, being my birthstone, garnet, I love it. These are two of the rarest crystals that are found, and they are the androdite crystals. Androdite, and let me put them right there. They are Stanley Butte. Look at that. Look at that. Those iridescent faces on the crystal. And this is a large crystal for weight, 6.77 carat. The rare Japanese iridescent rainbow garnet. That is a multiple. Look at the colors. Did you see that? Look at the colors reflecting in the mirror below. And then the green to this Stanley Butte, Arizona is, look at that. Look at that green. I mean, that should make you appreciate it. And this is andradite, you know, demantoid garnet. Wow, right there. So I am putting those on sale, believe it or not. I guess, I'm not sure I even showed them at the original price, but here is a deal for someone. Both of those crystals, including that large one, how about this? Special Memorial Day sale, $68. That should be the price of, well, half of just the Japanese one. That material has gone so up in price. Let me show you, and I've been wanting to show you, this is a real showstopper for a specimen. It is item number 102521. 102521. It is, you've probably seen it in the background many times. No, let's see, let me make sure I'm reading that right. 102521.
20521?
Yeah, I might have read that wrong. 1020521. Yep. Now, look at this. This is the, out of all the specimens that I received for gyrolites, look at the size of these gyrolites. They're huge. All these round formations. Then you have the apopholites, these squares. As we come in a little closer to show you, as I point these out, you can see how perfect some of these squares are, like that little thumbnail specimen in that collection I showed you earlier. Look how large the gyrolites are. So you have these incredible apopholites. You have these incredible large gyrolites. Look at these huge crystals. This is a plate, basically, of beautiful, beautiful mineral specimens. The reason some of the gyrolites have these little spots on top, you know why? Because they grew so large, they actually hit the other side of the seam. So, you know, crystals have to have room to grow. So a lot of them form in these little fissures or cracks in the rock. And they only can form as wide as the crack is. So when they do grow and hit the other side, that's what you get. It's all collectors, you know, they're purists. They don't want any imperfections on their crystals, but so many of them have to deal with this exact thing. But it's natural. It actually gives you information. It tells you that those crystals grew to the size of the void that they had available. This is a beautiful, beautiful large plate of gyrolite and apopholite. From the Mumbai district, there's fluorescence. There's also chlorite and stilbite. I'll let you find those. So there's a lot of interesting things, as well as the apopholite, and it is truly a world-class specimen. From the Malad quarry, know the exact location. It is deeply discounted, way below the value of it. I am offering this specimen right now for only $144. $144. Should be 2 or 3 times that. All right, I think, let's see that, unfortunately, my time is up, and I'll be right back with the trivia. Okay, so time for trivia. Now, we mix trivia up sometimes. Sometimes it's a question. Sometimes it's a little more fun, at least in my opinion. Now, Today, it is a what is this mineral trivia. There's going to be 3 items. Now, some of you may have noticed that I was wearing a pendant. And of course, anything really nice, I had to borrow it. Oh yeah. I borrowed from Raven, but nevertheless, I get to wear some of her nice things once in a while. So, there's 3 pieces, and let's just see how well you do. There is no right or wrong to it. It is just all about fun, and in the end, you get an education, because I can assure you, once you identify these, or incorrectly or correctly, at the end of it, you'll remember them going forward. And that's what it's all about. A little bit of education, a little bit of fun, and in the meantime, you can buy the cool items you see. Let me go over one more thing that I wanted to bring up. Items that you see from previous shows, because the shows are all there. We usually keep them for 3 to 4 weeks in inventory. Then it's taken out of inventory, and any items that haven't sold, and so I have them back in mind. But if you call in for the item and the wonderful sales reps say, we don't see that in inventory, or they can say that it's been sold or taken out of inventory. In other words, what I'm saying is, if it's just been taken out of inventory and they don't say it's been sold, that means there's a good chance I still have the item in my office right down the hallway. And I can just hunt up the item for you. So don't get discouraged if they say, oh, it shows it's not in stock. If they don't say that it's sold, then I may still have it. And that can go back a number of shows. It can go back a couple, years from ago. If you had an item number, we can check for you at any time if that item is available still. So just wanted to let you know that. Yeah, all right. So I am going to pick up each piece and show it to you with little additional information. Let's go to the trivias. The trivia minerals. The first one on your left, this is the piece I was wearing. You can see it has micro green crystals on a dark, I'll give you a little hint, a dark ore body mineral. In other words, they're on a ore body mineral, meaning it is can be mined for a particular metal. That particular metal contributes to the green part of it. Okay, so that's that one. We have another green piece here. Lots of green crystals intersecting each other, and this is a common color that it is found in, either the darker green like you see back here, or some of the lighter green. The crystals can be jumbled together like that, or they can form in sprays, but green is by far the most common color that you would find that in. It is something that has been a gemstone to a lesser degree, just as this green material here can be a gemstone, but not often found as such. Now, this last one, you can see it is a, I'll give you a little clue, it's heavy, it's a metallic reflection, and in this piece, it's more massive, but it does crystallize, and it's a often found with other ore minerals as well. But for the ore, that it is mined for. This is a very, what am I looking for? It's a very classic look for the way it is often found, put it that way. So, there you go. 3 specimens. Let's see how you do with those. So, a lot of all of you have said that you like the what is this? So I thought I'd mix it up a little bit, giving you, remember when you're a rock and mineral enthusiast, people will end up, because there's so few of us around, people will end up coming up to you or your neighbor and they'll say, what is this? Can you tell me what this is? I can't tell you the number of little mom and pop stores. There's actually a couple in my county and a county above that has an outlet mall, and there's a couple businesses that actually sell stones and mineral specimens. Raven's daughter, Summer, she goes in there. She likes looking around. It's a older couple, and they have mineral specimens. She knows far more about many of the items in there. And the owners of the shop weren't even familiar with what things were. They'd say, oh, well, I think it's this, or they say what something was, and it wouldn't be right. But of course, some are never correcting them. She just knows what they are. You just hate to go in. If I went in, I would have to bite my tongue at the incorrectness of what people, even the retail people, call things and what they think they are. So many times they are so wrong. And, it's just one of those things that there's just not many of us knowledgeable rock hounds around. So if you're a rock hound, you're going to get people coming up to you. So you need to learn. It's just something you need to learn. You need to be able to say, oh, yes, I'm not exactly sure, but this, I think it is, blah, 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 give you reasons why. Or, if you know something is for certain. That's why I say to Raven all the time, when, because she says, she can never ask what something is without getting a play 20 questions back. It's just, I'll never tell her directly. I say, well, okay, but, this is, and then she'll so often say, well, it looks like such and such, or, well, I think it's such. I said, do you think it is, or do you know it is? And I tell her, if you are confident, then say it with confidence, that, because if you're ambiguous, then that's not an answer at all. It's better to sound just confident and put it out there. 95% of the time, she is right. She is right. When she says, well, I think it might be, or it looks kind of like, and she'll say, let's say, oh, kind of chalcopyrite, but, and so when I drill down on her and say, does it just, you think it looks like it, or is it? And like I said, she'll always then say, well, it's chalcopyrite. And I say, you're exactly right. She is actually the expert between chalcopyrite and pyrite. And she can spot the difference from a distance. She can spot it even when it's non-crystallized. I'll go to her. I'll say to her so many times. And then me thinking, she couldn't, I'll examine it further, wasting my time, and every time I've done that, I wasted my time because her answer was the correct answer, and it was just me doubting that she could know so much about something that's kind of tricky at times to tell the difference between. So these are why sometimes we do this as to what is this, because you need to be able to do visual identification with no other measuring tools. And the information I'm showing you now, just the visual, is just as good as if it was on someone's neck saying, do you know what this is? I inherited it from my grandmother, or, you know, this or that. Because they will come up to you. There will be people, because us rockhounds are few and far between. So everybody have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Remember what it's all about. If you know a veteran, even the older veterans, they're the ones that really need to be thanked the most. They're the ones that really, there's not many World War II anymore. Those are the ones that need to be, you know, bowed down to. But the Korean War was no picnic either, with a lot of American losses. So then the Vietnam War, it goes on and continues. We wouldn't have our freedom without these true, brave, honorable men and women that, thank goodness, they have a calling to their duty, so that we're not conscripted in like so many other so many other countries have to, and like what has happened in the past, even the United States. I remember when I had to sign up for the draft when I turned 18, and it was kind of a scary thing. But luckily, my generation missed out on any big events that would have called us to serve. And instead, my father did, and my son is, and I honor both of them for their heroism and their calling, as I do, and all the other vets and their families. Truly a day to remember what the day is really about. All right, God bless all of you. God bless all of our troops, and bring them home safely to their families, and let their families always be able to endure the pain and suffering from that loss of that hero in their life, whether it is a physical loss or just a loss of distance, loss of being able to touch them, loss of being able to hold them. Save it up for when they return, because God bless them, they're gonna return wherever they are across this entire globe. I know how many places my son has been to, so. All right, enjoy your day. Enjoy cooking out, enjoy family members, and enjoy your rocks and minerals. Don't forget to step on Mother Earth. That's where the true blessings and energy that you need to survive are found in. Because what is beneath your feet on the ground, in the ground, all those elements and minerals, that's what makes up who you are in the very physical way. Appetite is our bones, calcite, teeth, on and on. God bless America. God bless our troops. Thank all of you for participating in this show and being part of it and supporting it for 6 years now. Love you all. Have a great week. See you next Monday.